Chair, honorable colleagues, Your Excellency, the Governor and your team. My name is Joyce Korir, the Vice Chair, Parliamentary Service Commission, and the Vice Chair to this committee. You're welcome.
Thank you, members. Good morning. My name is Mohammed Said Chote, Senator Marsabit, Chair of this committee. Let me ask my team also to introduce themselves.
Andrew Nyairo, Legal Counsel.
Habakuk Tian, Clerk to the committee.
Lucian Limo, in charge. Purity Yorut for clerk.
Are we done? Governor karibu sana.
Oscar Lewis, legal intern.
So.
Alfred Makere, people.
Are we done now?
Beatrice Capey, legal counsel.
Thank you. Governor Karibu, you can start introducing your team also, yourself and your team.
Thank you so much, Chairman, Honorable Senators, and the Secretary of this committee. My name is Sakaja. I ask my members to introduce themselves. I have the County Secretary and a number of CCs from now.
Good morning, Your Excellency. My name is Godfrey Akumali, the County Secretary.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. My name is S.G. Mondi, the CEC in charge of Barrows, Administration, and Personnel.
My name is Janet Opiata, Chief Officer Public Service.
Morning, Chair.
City County.
Good morning, Chairman, honorable senators. Morning, Your Excellency. My name is Charles.
Honorable members, Your Excellency, my name is Justin Muli, PA Governor.
Good morning, members and honorable members. My name is Elizabeth. I represent the Nairobi County Public Service Board.
We done? Thank you very much. As I was saying earlier, this is a committee you know very well. I want to still go to the reason why we are here today. There was a motion by Senate Majority and Minority Leader on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. And the Senate resolved that we seek information on a number of issues, the issues which are in your folder. In a sitting of Thursday, 18th August 2024, this committee decided to call 47 governors. If you can take us through.
Thank you. Mnajua nawapenda sana. This committee has a lot of history. Just by way of introduction, I was the first chair of this committee in 20 Assembly and Senate. Back then, and you can imagine Honorable Kaiseri, the late Senator Obure, the late Senator, people my father's age, 15 members from National Assembly, 15 from Senate. But we achieved so much. We visited 34 counties to make sure there is peace. You can see then in Turkana South, Lokor Nakuse, we went to Mginyang, we went to Baragoi, Nasola, Ward in Samburu North, where the MCA there I remember was from Turkana descent in Samburu County. His name is Lawrence. And the former member of parliament of Samburu North, Ntoimanga, was the vice chair of security, and the chair of security was one called Asman Kamama, but they were the biggest cause. Was to put this committee as one of the only committees that is mentioned in statute. In 2015, in the Public Procurement and Disposal Act amendments, when we introduced 30%, which was actually my bill, what we're discussing today, 30% for women, youth, and persons with disability, I put in an amendment to say that every year, 6 months, this committee must receive a report from every procuring entity on whether they've given preferences and reservations to young people, women, and persons with disability. And I put the committee's name by name, the committee in charge of equalization of opportunities. And so, Senator Chute, you're standing in a good place as chairing this committee. In the last term of Parliament, this committee became inactive. I really pray that we can bring back the reason we had this, because in our country, we will never unite our country. You can never have cohesion without equalization of opportunities. Somebody born in Baringo, in Nanyuki, in Nairobi must know that their child has the same chance at life. The prerogative for equality of opportunities is so important. And once we have that, then no one will ever care who becomes president. Because they know whether my child is born in Lamu, or Nairobi, or Kisumu, they can have the same shot at life. They can be somebody. Because every Kenyan wants the same thing, to go about their lives peacefully, to make something out of themselves, and to guarantee their children a future. That is something I believe fundamentally. So I'm very honored and privileged to be here, personally, and allow me to go through my responses, Chair. The first question was on the demographic composition of the employees of Nairobi City County government in terms of gender, persons with disabilities, age, and ethnicity. The number of staff we have is 16,321. It's the biggest because we also have the biggest population. We serve 5 million Nairobians. Actually 7 million during the day and 5 million at night. The number changes at night. Of that number, men are a minority. 7,661 are male. 8,660 are female. I have put annexes where we have that breakdown in Annex A. So that is in terms of the total establishment. In terms of persons living with disability, we have 172 staff living with disability. Again, the female are more, 90 of them, and the male are 82, coming to 172. In terms of age, and I think this is a success story, before I became the governor of Nairobi, less than 10% were above 50 and retiring. But since we're able to hire our green, that demographic. And so we have 1 18-year-old, we have 3,419 and 29, we have 4,164 between 30 and 39, 3,265 are between 40 and 49, 5,398 are above 50, between 50 and 59, and above 60 is 74. What this means in terms of economic planning is then that in terms of pension, we really must prepare ourselves. The coming few years, we'll have a lot of retirement in the county government of Nairobi because they retire at 60. Those above 60 are mainly those who hold statutory positions, like deputy governor or chairman of, those ones are allowed. They don't have to be below 60. The composition in terms of ethnicity, Nairobi is the most inclusive county. I know you've seen many reports from many counties where everyone is from a homogeneous community. Nairobi, we have 42 communities in the county government. In fact, something surprising I've just noticed, even here, everybody who introduces themselves is from a different community. The county secretary is from Western, the CC Barrows is from the mountain, which we are not touching. The chief officer is from Nyanza. We're massaging the mountain. The supply chain director of procurement is from Kisii. The CEC finance is from Bomet. Joyce Mutiako. My PA is from Ukambani. Which county actually? Machakos. And me, I'm international. The public service board representative is from the mountain. You can see the mountain as two. Now, if you look at the composition, out of 16,321, the highest is the mountain, 6,173 from Kikuyu, 2,370 from Luo, Namlolwe, Kambas, 1954, Luyas, 1945. I'm sure you expected that number to be higher, but it is not. Yeah. Kisii 1360, Kalenjin 899, including Kerich and Tirop. Meru 469, Embu 221, Masai 144, Somali 123, Taita 101. The Somalis we need more actually because they're many in Nairobi. Mijikenda 76, Mbere 74, Kuria 59. I think I have more Kurias in my county than in Migori even.
Governor, don't go through all.
I don't need to go through all. Okay.
Yes.
In terms of the county executive committee, okay. 20. There are 20 Tarakas. 30 Pokomo, Basuba, Burji, Gosha. They say something else. We work on it, Chairman. But even Hawaiian, James, Sakuye, everyone is in Nairobi. Normally, when you do this analysis, some don't wish to state their community for many reasons. For politics, I don't know. They don't say. But this is what we have in terms of our analysis. Now, at the top level of the governance of the city, you have the County Executive Committee and chief officers. We have 10 CEC members. I have 2 of them here. And we have 29 chief officers. I have 29 different subsectors. The total is 39. Of the 39, 26 are male, 13 are female. Meaning we actually subscribe to the 2/3 rule. Exactly. But I found the female are better than these guys. And I would wish to have more. They serve very well. Next time it will be the other way around. Yes. The female are diligent and they're very good. In terms of persons with disability, at the CEC and chief officers, we don't have anyone living with disability at that level. And this is also an example of where people don't declare it. Because from my view, when I see them, I know there are 2. But if they don't say it, I can't force them to say it. But I know there are 2 of them. In terms of age, I have 30 to 39 years old, I have 15. I have the youngest cabinet in this country. I have the youngest CEC member, who is 30 now. I'm in charge of health, wellness and nutrition. Her name is Susan Silantoi. She became a CEC at age 29, and she's a Samburu. In terms of 40 to 49, 10, 50 to 59, 12, 60 and above, 2. We mix age because there's beauty in the wisdom of the older and the energy of the young. One of my CEC members who is here with me joined City Hall the day before I was born. In 1985. He joined on the 1st of February, I was born on the 2nd of February. And so I have that spread from him. He looks very young.
You look very young.
He is the encyclopedia of land in this country. He can tell you a large number without knowing your name.
That's good.
So from SG Mwangi, Kaduita to Susan, who is now 30, that is a breadth and span. So we mix age, we mix community, we mix ethnicity. In terms of the CEC members and chief officers, we have 2 from Kalenjin, 3 Kamba, 15 Kikuyu, 3 Kisii, 5 Luya, 6 Luo, and the rest are 1 Murule, Meru, Ogaden, Samburu, and Somali. The third issue, Chairman, on the recruitment we've conducted in the last 3 years, In 2021-22 financial year, we recruited quite a number I've listed there. Constables, 498, early childhood, sorry, the biggest was ECD teachers. ECD is very important. And we did 498. In fact, this year we want to recruit more ECD teachers because we're building 1,500 classrooms across the city for ECD. Clerical, fire, disaster management, cooperatives, etc. They're there before you. And traffic marshals. But at that time I was in the Senate, though I still take responsibility. Financial year 2023 is when we just got into office. We recruited more of the senior staff in terms of directors and deputy directors, assistant directors, as explained there. 41 traffic marshals. I think the largest component there at that time was culture and heritage assistant officers, job group H, 34 of them. And also county chief officers. That's when I got my chief officers. I did 27 at that point, and my CECs, and one chief of staff, and my advisors. Photographer, etc. It is there before you, Chairman. I'm told other counties brought the full list of IPPD payroll. I can provide that if you allow me within the week on Monday. Janet Opiata can provide the actual payroll data. It is available. It's on IPPD. It's a system that is national.
That's good.
That can be provided.
You are going to give us when, madam? Can you go on record, please?
Chair will do that by Monday.
Thank you very much. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Pierre. My team, I really looked for merit. Janet is one of the best in human resources. I am progress. I said no. You must stay with very good profession. So questions of peers we can ask. This Wangi is in terms of issues of built environment. I looked at merit. While the county secretary acting has been a public officer at the national level at the county, and I'm very blessed to have my team like this. Even Mogoko is a superstar in procurement. He can do it with his eyes closed. In supply chain management, Richard.
It's good.
Yeah. When you go to the which is has just ended through here. And we say tulitoka tena kwa Kimanga, tunatoka kwa Mawe. We hired 3,500 young people to join what we call our Green Army. We had 1,499 constables who are about to do the pass. Nairobi is a center of excellence for training, for compliance. We've trained Kiambu, we've trained Mombasa, and now we're getting even requests from East Africa to train them in our training school in Dagoretti. We also want to have the center of excellence for disaster. So the first batch was 1645.
Yeah, on which page? Page 11?
Page 11, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Proceed.
So the criteria applied in the selection of candidates, of course, there's professional and academic qualifications.
As indicated.
As indicated.
Good. Let's go to
affirmative action measures being implemented in promotion of women, youth, and persons with disabilities, as indicated in issue number 5, Chair. Any audit or assessment undertaken to ascertain inclusivity. We started with looking at our HR manuals to promote inclusivity, but not just to promote inclusivity, to also look at the wellness and welfare of my staff. I am putting together a wellness center in Parklands High Ridge, where the staff can, their mental health issues, they can have counseling, they have gym membership, they can have their, whatever treatment they require, and just to relax and play games and, talk to each other. It's the first county to set that up, because I take very seriously the mental health of my members of staff. Madam Opiata is in charge of that, and she's ensuring that we set that up. But we eliminate biases of, Nairobi is cosmopolitan. We have people from the whole country. 43 communities are represented in Nairobi. That's why we say those who try to put Nairobi in any tribal cocoon are on the wrong. We have everyone. In fact, I have failed because the last governor had even Asians, and I will bring Europeans. They are there in Nairobi, third generation, second generation. And so we don't have that issue, and we were rated the best in terms of inclusivity by the National Commission on Equality.
Governor, for your information, we have the report from NCIC here.
Yes.
You are number 4, Tana River number 3, Nairobi number 4.
It is not possible, Chair.
It is.
We need to.
Here's the report.
We will appeal. Because I listened for you.
You can only appeal
even
to
the
NCIC.
I will appeal.
Yes, also.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
I don't know if there's another question. There's a question on procurement. I've listed some of the interns for WDF, Ward Development, ward-based projects. But Chair, we will provide that full IPPD data as a great Madam. In terms of 30%, I feel like this is poetic because when the law was done in 2015, I put it, the law I proposed, and I said procuring entities must come and report to the Senate. So I'm very happy to come. When young people, women, and persons with disability, 7 billion. The entities have been listed. And the one thing I would advise, sometimes you forget in the law, there's two different things. There's preferences and there's reservations. The only people who should apply for this is women or youth. And sometimes very low level procurement is given in terms of reservations. But when it comes to preferences, what it means is that when an entity is either youth, women, or PWD, in the scoring at the technical evaluation, you start them off with a preference in terms of a higher score. And so if a normal company scores 80% and a youth one scores 60, they are bumped up. Or a women one scores lower. That is what is called a preference. We put in that law because some people were very smart. You can be a governor or a PS or a CEO of an institution, and you register a company for your children, and you say it is youth, or your wife, or your girlfriend. So we said that the account, if you look at PPDA, section 53, 55, we said the bank account to which you're paying to, the mandatory signatory must be verified to be that youth, or that woman, or that person living with disability. From there, if they get the money and give it to their sponsor, there's nothing else you can do. You know, you can take the cow to the river, but you cannot force it to drink. The reason we put this is because unless we empower our youth and women and persons living with disability economically, then we cannot empower them politically, we cannot empower them socially. The percentage of this needs to be measured on the procurable budgets. So, for instance, Nairobi budget is 42 billion shillings. But if you have to remove salaries because you're not procuring salaries, you have to remove pensions, personal emoluments, and then base your percentage of the 30% on what is in the procurement plan. And that is what I agreed with my supply chain director. So far we've done 1.37 billion. I would love to do more. But one thing I would urge you as a committee, when you deal with these procuring entities, ask them to do campaigns. We had set up a secretariat within the same law. The secretariat is at Treasury. I think that secretariat needs to be moved to the ministry in charge of youth so they can do campaigns. I once called a meeting at Nairobi Safari Club when I was the chairman of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. I chaired that association for 10 years. I put an advertisement and said, anybody, any young person who wants to know how to procure, come. I booked a room for 300 people. 3,000 came. The 3,000 who came were not the ones you'd call for a political meeting. Very dignified young people in their suits, with their folders. So many want to understand how to procure, but there's not enough training. And so with our Biashara Fund and as Nairobi County, we have signaled 85 officers in all the wards to look for these groups of women, of youth, to do activations, so that once we get the amount of money, 1.5 billion shillings that we've set aside, and it's an interesting fund, with 100 million shillings we're giving to the bank to cover interest and to cover the risk of the loan. The banks are giving us 1.5 billion that we're giving targeted women groups, youth groups, and PWD groups to do business. So we're not giving any company, we're giving those who know. In your market center, you know who are Nakonga Kinyozi, who you are on a Buddha Buddha. We actually know target. That's what we're doing. So, Chair, I beg to submit. And once again, I am really honored and grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor Nairobi County, Governor Sakaja. Members, I think there is Senator Chimera who is online. Senator Chimera, can you kindly go on record?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Senator Chimera. I come from the great county of Kwale. We have the best beach in the world for information. I'm a member of this committee, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity. Chair, let me take this.
That is noted. Can you have a question to ask the governor?
On the question on the bills, pending bills to payable to law firms. I just want to get his general comment on the same vis-a-vis the petition that is before us on the need to making sure counties do not hire external law firms in offering legal services. What is the government?
Senator, this is a question which is, unless the governor wants to answer, okay, the governor can answer that question, but the governor, this is not the question that we've asked you earlier, but you are free to answer if you are comfortable with that. Let me ask other senators to ask question, note it down, and then once we finish with the governor, Senator Mofaya, and another senator, then you can reply, you can answer the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. I want to congratulate the governor because it's very eloquent. Actually, he is the pioneer chair of this committee, and I have captured quite a number of history, maybe that this committee needed to use for guidance. So, His Excellency, I would want to know whether you have any special program to achieve 5% rule on PWDs. And on top of that, have you, or are you liaising with the PWD Council, maybe in terms of when you are recruiting these PWDs? Do you have any arrangement with the PWD Council for that matter?
That's all. Thank you very much, Senator Lomanen.
Chair, I want to ask the staff establishment of how many do you propose according to the needs of the Nairobi County? And I will also ask your advisors, because of the you also congratulate them.
Thank you very much, Senator Lomanen. Senator Kamau. Senator Montet.
Thank you. Mine is more of maybe an observation, or maybe for the youth and the young people of this country. We are here today because the youth feel that we are not taking care of them, and fund, I believe is a revolving fund. Maybe in the next set of documents, which I know Chair will ask for, you could also include all that, whatever you're doing for the youth and the women, even in pictorial, to show that this is what and when you handle them and where, so that we can also help you amplify to the nation that the governor of Nairobi is doing this and this for the young people in this nation. And also, maybe I just want to know, what is your wage bill? if you are keeping to the percentage approved.
Thank you very much, Senator Montet. Senator Kamau.
Thank you very much. I wanted to from the governor to know from the governor why has he not provided the breakdown of employees in terms of age, and considering the fact that we are here because of the problem that we got in this country. We wanted to know exactly has the county government of Nairobi considered the youth in terms of employment.
Okay, thank you. Any further question? I think let us allow the governor to answer those ones, and then we can again take the second round.
All right.
Governor, karibu.
Thank you so much, Senators Chimera, my good friend he says they have the best beaches. I can't argue because we have none in it. Senator Mufaya, I'll organize you to meet 20 Tarakas.
You are going to buy lunch.
And you must buy lunch. Because, you see what we've done. Yes. You tell us how many challenges in Tarak and Luyas. Do you know, Chairman, in Tarakaniti County, they did something amazing. In 2010, I was consulting for Parliament on delimitation of constituencies and boundaries. And they could not agree where to have the headquarter. Wale Chora Narula, the middle, a place called Kadwana, is where they put the headquarter. And the biggest office that time was the TNA office, when I was chairman of TNA. Now, when I was chairman of TNA, it brings me to Lominen. He's the only person who came to my office based on his candor and brevity. I told him I will not take you through a nomination. I gave him a direct ticket. And he said he will bring that seat. And he's the only one who won from TNA, from that whole of North Rift. So I'm very proud of Senator Lominen. Senator Montet, thank you so much for your question as well. I will respond to it, and Senator Kamau. Now, Chimera's first question was on law firms. Yes, the bill is high. When I became governor, I found a pending bill of 21 billion shillings owed to law firms. A lot of them are decretable amounts. A lot of them have gone through the court process. And I said it is not sustainable to have that kind of a bill, because that is our entire equitable share of revenue. If I'm to pay 1 billion a year to lawyers, I'll pay it for 21 years. And so we've been negotiating. Because, there are lawyers here. You cannot bill a county 1 billion shillings for thinking and arguing. You have not built anything. They will never bill a private company that amount of money. You never hear Safaricom paying a lawyer 1 billion or Coca-Cola. But in the past, it was an avenue through which executives would make money, because you pay them and you divide the money. And so we started a task force to review. It was led by Senior Counsel Kamodo Iganjo, and it had a number of lawyers. As we were doing it, the court ruled in Trans Nzoia that those task forces are not legal, but we got the recommendations. What we did then is we went to the SRC and asked the SRC to allow me to hire at a preferential rate 50 advocates with proper experience, who have had proper post-admission experience into the bar, to set up a proper county law office, like the state law office, so that we can reduce the amount of briefs that go externally, because many can be handled internally. SG will tell you a big percentage of the cases are to do with the land. I think maybe 60%, 80%.
When you combine land and
planning. You can use your mic, because we want to hear your wisdom also. Yeah.
Maybe between 60 and 80% when you combine land and planning issues.
And so,
problem with your
Chair, so we're going to assign to every sector, the 10 CCs and their sectors, proper legal advice and lawyers to take them through contracting, through when you do land allocations, when you give out leases, to people, so that we don't have those cases. But we've told the lawyers to negotiate with us. So in the last 1 year, my county attorney and her team have reviewed and have brought it down to around 11 billion. We will bring it further down, but I have a plan on how to sort it out. Because I found pending bills of 107 billion in Nairobi County. But God has been faithful. We have found that the national government owes us around 120 billion. So a lot of what is owed to us, to what we owe national institutions, we'll do a write-off. We're doing a debt swapping. And so it's possible by the end of this financial year for Nairobi to have 0 pending bills. That is my goal, so that our fiscal management is prudent. The second question, and I want to thank Mheshimiwa Mufaya, special program for PWDs. Persons living with disability, we have worked with the council for PWDs in terms of recognition of those who live with disability, in terms of activation for them to know, because what happens many times is when someone is about to retire, they say they're a PWD, so that they're added for years, and that is against the law. And so we're working with them. We really want to push the 5% in terms not just even of positions, but in terms of procurement as well. Many of them are doing desk work. Nairobi is a service county. You need people out there sweeping, cleaning, and so some of those jobs cannot be done by persons living with disability. But in terms of office work, I have the only blind sub-county administrator in the country. Her name is what? Is it Florence or? Florence. Yeah, she's visually impaired, but she does an amazing job. And sometimes you find people living with disability, when one sense is impaired, the rest are hyper. So they feel more, they can sense, they hear, and the public really love her, So someone would say, why do you hire a blind sub-county? I don't know Chafuaje. But let me tell you, her sub-county is one of the best performing. I would love you to, I wish I came with her. It would be amazing for you to meet her and the work that she's doing. So we would appreciate advice from the committee if there's more that we can do.
Governor, currently you are at 1%, 1 point, to be specific, 1.05.
1.05.
Yes, you are supposed to be at a minimum of 5%.
Yeah.
But then you're supposed to do it gradually.
It's progressive.
Progressively, yes.
We will target in incoming recruitments how we can have more, because let me tell you, all of us are disabled. We are helped by the built environment, and let me explain it. When I was chair of cohesion and equal opportunities, we had moved the thinking of disability from a medical issue to a human rights issue, and the human rights was provision of facilities to facilitating. If there were no stairs in this building, none of you would be here in this floor. We're only here because there's a staircase and there's a lift. Now, the other person who may not have legs needs a ramp additional. They only need something extra more than you. So you're not better than them. All of us have a limitation. Yeah. Sindio? Ungekuwa hakuna ngazi hatungeruka hapa. So when I got into City Hall, I realized actually someone with disability cannot get to my office. It was not possible because it was just stairs. It's an old building built in 1935. And that time it was the tallest building in East Africa because of the clock tower. But I had to make sure that we put in the lifts on the rear side of City Hall Annex. We make sure that there are ramps. These days when we do our pavements, and I'd love you to take a walk around town, we're doing what we call universal access. That the pavement on our walkways don't end abruptly. They have a gradual slope, so that a wheelchair you can be able to move on a wheelchair. At the intersections with the junctions, you put the dots, so that if somebody has a white stick, they can feel that the road has ended over there. Kenya has the best standard that I would like this committee to adopt. It's an ISO certified standard by KEBS on building. It even says the width of the door of a bus, the width, how the toilet should be. We have the best standards of the built environment for persons with disability. And they had presented it to this committee in 2014. I would wish that you invite them to share that so that it can be implemented in the building code for all the counties. So when we build, we think about everyone, 360.
Senator Sige
yeah.
is handling that matter.
Oh, wonderful.
Because he has also a disability. I think it's with the committee, roads committee. Yes, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but it's beyond just roads.
I know.
It is in all aspects, And so the committee with the, what we call primacy on that issue is your committee. Because there are some about buildings, there's some about transport, there is some about media, about TV. At least we see they do the sign language. But why don't we have subtitles? In some countries, they made it mandatory. If there's any public service announcement and news, there must be subtitles. Because some where the sign language is different. Some just want to read what is put there. So, Chair, Mheshimiwa Mofai, we will do more. Mheshimiwa Lominen, you've asked a very significant question. We have 16,000 staff serving 7 million people. The national government has around 400,000 staff serving 50 million people. We actually need more staff in Nairobi. When I became governor, I found that part of the reason why Nairobi has been dirty, and we are trying to sort it out progressively, was that the last time environmental staff were hired was in the 80s. And so you'd find a whole sub-county, like Embakasi East, I like that example. From Utawala, Donholm, Mihango, you go all the way to Lower Savannah, had 3 women, age 56, who are the sweepers. How do you expect the place to be clean? And so we hired young people, Green Army, who have done a good job. You'll find them sweeping, clearing the drainage. Now, the problem that was there was when counties don't receive money, like this financial year, we only got money last week for 1 month. Then the operation and maintenance. So we have the trucks, but they don't have fuel, And so what they have collected will stay by the roadside, and the trucks cannot collect. What we're doing now, we're setting up Nairobi Solid Waste Management Company called Green Nairobi Limited, just like Nairobi Water, to ring fence all environmental money. When I was growing up in this city, just here in Ngara, in our water bill, there was a percentage for garbage when you pay water. And then every Tuesday and every Saturday, the truck would come and collect that garbage. That is what we're returning in Nairobi. I bought 24 tippers, another energy project, but with China National Electric and Engineering, and they're giving us also 200 trucks. And so that now all of that domiciled under Green Nairobi Limited will make sure this is the cleanest city on the continent. And as we do that, we will employ more young people, and we can even look at those living with disability and women. So 16,321, but it's a service county. You need sweepers, you need doctors. Right now, I need to hire 1,200 medical staff for Mama Margaret Uhuru Hospital. A hospital like Mama Lucy alone has 1,500 staff. That's Mama Lucy Hospital. Nurses, clinical officers, lab, doctors, specialists, oncologists. We have now the first cancer center. Yeah, we have the first eye hospital in this country. There's no public eye hospital in Kenya, but Umoja too, you have it. So we actually need more staff to do it.
Yeah, through the chair, Your Excellency, the question was very specific, based on the organogram of the county. How many staff are you supposed to have? Yeah, you have the 16,000.
Yeah.
What was
based on the establishment?
The proposed? Yeah.
I'll ask.
Have HR person is here? No. You can, excuse me. Don't shout from there. What you can do is go to the nearest microphone and speak. You are free to speak. This is a committee who listens to people.
The establishment.
Sorry, Chairman. The establishment has 23,000.
Exactly.
There's 23, but we only have 16. But what we're doing is improving our revenue. This last financial year, we've raised the highest amount in the history of devolution, 12.8 billion. I saw my colleagues wametusumbua sana kwa WhatsApp group na 1 billion. On a poster and the stars saying they've collected a B. We've done 12.8 billion. And this financial year, we're doing 20. 12.8. billion in collections. We want to create
Yeah, maybe as you respond to that, you can also give us the figures of 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024.
in terms of
The
revenue.
collection, yeah?
Yes.
And whether you've automated the same.
100%. We did 12.8 billion, 2023-24. The year before that, Charles Kerich, use the mic.
The year before that, Chair, we did 10.6 billion, and the previous year was 9.8. So there's a trajectory upward, and of course, previously now there was the issues of COVID, where the revenue had gone down to.
You are also still there that time, right? All the years you are there. You are with Sonko. You are with Sonko.
In various dockets, Chair. Not just
Not
in
finance.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so we improved from 8 to 9 billion to 10.6 to 12 billion. We fully automated all the revenue streams in Nairobi. All. You cannot pay anything in cash in Nairobi. I even closed the cash office. You pay through *647# and our website. Now, this is the clincher. Our biggest revenue source is land rates. We have done the 2019 valuation rule. Most counties are in 80s. We did it to set up the valuation court. But you can imagine, we have only 175,000 parcels in Nairobi that we see. Of the 175,000 parcels, there are only 30,000 accounts. And so we're doing collection now. But the Ministry of Lands has 350,000 accounts in terms of parcels. So what we've done with them is to create what we call an API between our system and Ardhi Sasa. When I say this year we'll hit 20 billion, we will surpass it. Everybody, if they carry their weight, and we've said you can pay your rates monthly. It doesn't have to be one sum. So if they have agreed to pay the Krima family. And I told them, before I give you a subdivision, you must pay regularization to the county. I mean it. We're going to hit 20 billion in the 4th month of the financial year. Yes. And our biggest revenue month is January. Before in Nairobi, you would have to go to different offices to get a license. There would be more than 6 licenses. Food and hygiene, pest control. If you go to someone's office, you would not know the color of the wall because licenses are all over. Come to City Hall, oh, this one, go to Tomboya Fire Station or go to advertising. Now it is one license. We have a revamped customer service center. The County Government Act asks all counties to have that. We're happy to have the first one. Please, I would welcome you to come and see it. You would think you're in Barclays Bank or Equity. Everyone is served. Before, this staff used to work in silos. The person doing rates would not know how to bill for advertising. The person doing advertising would not know how to deal with public health. Today, they can serve any issue, including inoculation. And so I think it's a case of how to deal with our customers. I told them the first principle we must have is customer excellence, to be obsessed with the customer, and the customer is the citizen of Nairobi. So we made progress there. Senator Montet, I think yours was on the wage bill. Currently, our wage bill is 18 billion shillings. 18 billion annually. Meaning all the money that we get from the Senate is just salaries. Everything else you see happening in Nairobi is our own source revenue. What we get from equitable share just covers the salaries. When you see a road done, I've done more than 75 projects in the wards. I have built more than 17 kitchens in Nairobi County. We're feeding 310,000 children every day at 5 shillings. They all wear this watch. Tap to it. 310,000 children at 5 shillings. That is our own source revenue. 25%, sorry? 17. We built 310,000 children. The 17 kitchens are in every constituency. The initial ones were a capacity of 10 to 15,000 meals. These new ones, the last 7 I've done, do up to 20,000. primary schools. Attendance is 100%. During school days, you don't see street children. They're all in school. And so now we want to step it down to move it now to the informal schools. Because we have many schools that are not public, but they're not also academies. They're not the posh schools, in the informal settlements. Because from 1992, this county faced a lot of dereliction. When multipartyism came and Kano lost control of the capital, no school was built. Water was an issue. And so all of that is from own source revenue. That's why when I say I need to do 20 billion, Nairobians understand why we need that 20 billion and 25, and we will do it. Tunasema Nairobi lazima iwork. The age breakdown that you've asked for, Senator Kamau.
Did you ask about HR manual?
He moved very fast. I wanted to ask when you were talking about it. I wanted to ask whether you have an updated HR manual.
Opiata?
That one can be answered by yes, please.
Is the Undo Gwiji HR Kenya?
Thank you, Chair. We have an HR manual that is being reviewed now. It is with the board. I think they're just remaining with one step.
Was it last reviewed? Whatever you are using?
Sorry. The one we are using, by the time I joined the county, that is what they were using. So right now it is being reviewed by the board and a team from HR. So we will be able to, in fact, in the next meeting, if there is any, we will be able to surrender it.
Oh, you can, okay. Once you are done with it, you can send it to us.
Okay, we will do that. Thank you.
There's one thing that I would really urge you also to focus on. I was also the chair of Labour in the last Senate. Counties are not supposed to be ethnic Balkans. There are certain skills that you cannot have in all the counties. You can't have 47 neurosurgeons or certain, rheumatoid. There are certain skills that are very rare. What we wanted to do that time was to create like a PSC, so that you can do inter-county transfers. If you're hired in Wajir, you can work in Kisumu. If you're hired in Mombasa, you can also.
One of the governors here that it is within the of governors to come up with that, because if you wait for the
we're having our election for Council of Governors,
and that is what Senator Chimera has been always asking.
I have not presented anything, but I think maybe I should go for it. What do you think? Anyway,
Governor, proceed.
So we need that in the county. Sorry. Now, finally, we have also entities in the city that we have city companies. We have Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company, providing a wonderful service. We've also done serious board. The board chair of Nairobi Water is a youth. Arnold Karanja is below 35. And he has pushed them to drive collections from 8 billion to 10.8 billion shillings in terms of billing and collections. I'm very happy today as we speak, we have a milestone where I'm going to after this. Nairobi has had a water shortage for a long time. We receive 525 million liters of water, but the demand is 900 million liters daily. There were projects that were stalled in water, Northern Collector from Muranga. I've been able to work with the president to pay those on the oil lifts. Today we are connecting the final bit of it from Kigoro and Gigiri to get an additional 140 million liters daily from today. So there are areas that have never received money since God made Nairobi. And they've not received water since God made Nairobi. From today they'll start receiving water.
Where is that?
So areas like Karen, like Ruta, Ngando, some parts of Eastlands like Niamu, Utawala, will start getting water. They've never gotten it, but they've had the pipes. We'll test it for 2-3 weeks because I want to get the president's diary for him to also join us as we launch. And that's just 140 million liters. What we've been able to do also is to get support from our partners in Korea. Unfortunately, counties can't borrow directly. So the treasury is holding us back a bit, but I've gotten $100 million to do Maragua 4 and Northern Collector 2. Northern Collector 2 and Maragua 4 will add 220 million liters additionally to Nairobi. Then our engineers, I always encourage my staff. That's why I speak highly about them, because when you encourage them and create that environment, they deliver. My engineers in Nairobi Water discovered that in Ngevo treatment plant, we lose 30 million liters of water through what we call the backwash system as we filter it. They have done a reverse system that now that 30 million liters will be coming into the grid. That is half of Sasumwa. Sasumwa Dam in Nairobi gives us 60 million liters. So in the next 3 years, if you support me, senators, the story of water shortage in Nairobi will be in history books. We'll be able to deliver. And that is the essence of devolution. Senator Kamau, I broke down the age in the response. If you look at 1C, those ages.
Yeah. Thank you, Governor. I've seen, I've noted. But, Chair, if you allow me, maybe as a rejoinder of the same.
Let him finish first.
No, it's the same. He has. Okay.
I want to finish because of time.
Yeah, sorry, I was just responding that we've done the breakdown of age. When we send the IPPD data, you'll have the specifics of everybody. The programs for our young people. Government can't employ all our young people. I mean, we're trying, we are doing climate works. We said we launched in Nairobi, in Korogosho. There were 20,000 slots. In 24 hours, 195,000 youth applied. That is a very sad situation. 195,000 applied. In the first hour, I saw a video moving, people saying the youth said, I want to see more, will not apply. In the first hour, 65,000 applied. And so, the biggest threat to our country is not terrorism. It is not Al-Shabaab. It is millions of disengaged, disillusioned young people who have studied, they have certification, they have education, but they're at home. And when they sit at home, they see us passing with guzzlers, they see stories of corruption, they see stories of malfeasance, yet they're home and they have studied. That is what we must address. How do you create opportunities? Through creating an enabling environment for the private sector. Government is not supposed to hire everyone. In fact, if you look at the US now, the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, it's about big government or small government. When government enables private sector, that's why we're doing our Biashara Fund. That's why we are reducing the license to 1. When we enable the private sector to hire and to employ and to industrialize, that is when you will sort out. So it's a macroeconomic issue. Counties are limited in terms of what we can do. I'm glad I asked the president, we must move this number, so we're getting the first 20,000 youth coming on board. Then an additional 10,000 will come and join our Green Army in cleaning the city. The 20,000 will work on our rivers, Nairobi River, Madare River, and Ngong River, to create a river corridor that even can be used for transit. As I conclude, you can imagine from First Avenue Eastleigh to Westlands is less than 10 kilometers along the river. From Chiromo to Naivasha Avenue, Naivasha Road in Dagoretti South is 10.6 kilometers. If you create a walkway and a greenway with cycle paths that people can actually walk, many people walk to work along our rivers, you will change the city. Nairobi is the only city in the world where the rivers are hidden. You have traveled elsewhere, the river is the frontage of the city. You have restaurants along the river, you have even the Westminster is on the River Thames. If you look at the Danube, but Nairobi, despite it being named after a river, and carry Nairobi, the reason why they did that was the colonialists. If you look at the 1948 master plan of the city, wanted a buffer between them and the poor people. So they took the higher areas of the city, the Mudaigas, the Hurlinghams, the Upper Hill, and created a buffer and a green zone which became slums. That is why when it floods, who is affected? Kibera, Mukuru Kwanjenga, Madare, it is the slums. So we want to invert that and change the narrative of Nairobi so that my Maasai ancestors can rejoice again that Nkari Nairobi is back. Chairman, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next set of questions, Senator Beth Siembo.
Thank you, Chair. I think majority of the questions have been asked, but allow me to refer His Excellency to page 2, and that is on the table part C. The one on part C.
Okay, yes.
The demographic composition of all employees. I have two questions there. One is looking at 50 to 59. There are 5,398.
Yes.
Your Excellency, do you have succession plan and a good elaborate one on how to handle that? Then the second question on the same is on 60 and above, there are 74. The question is, are they on contract? If yes, how long is the contract? Then the next question is on page 4. We have number 3 on part D, demographic composition of county executive committee members. Number 3, we have Kikuyus, the Murima, that we are Tungusi.
Don't touch it, please.
15. How many are county executive committee members?
In terms of?
Because it's just lumped together, 15 Kikuyus. Are they, because it's indicating that county executive committee members.
I can see.
So the 15 of them, are they all CEC members? Yeah, for now I submit.
Thank you.
Okay, Governor.